What's up, sports bettors? I've already given out 2.5K in sharp NBA parlays, 7 picks total. You can see here we got 1,000 to win 3.6K on these two plays. And then we also have this on Underdog Fantasy. So again, if you're new to the OddsJam YouTube, we try to keep this YouTube, pretty educational too, right? As a sharp better, our goal is to beat the juice, beat the VIG, find enough value to make money long term. If you're looking for a channel that's going to help you become a millionaire overnight, that's definitely not the OddsJam YouTube with crazy parlays. This is all about mathematical, data-driven sports betting. So for example, if you take a look, and it's free to browse odds on OddsJam, is you can see on this platform, you can kind of very quickly see and try to identify spots with value if you view data in this way. For example, if I wanted to play Alvin Kamara, in terms of his, receiving yards, you wouldn't want to take him on underdog fantasy, under 34 and a half. Why would you do that when you can get under 35 and a half at better odds on FanDuel? So essentially, OddsJam is all about using data to find value and make better bets. Like if we look at money line very briefly, actually, let's screw it. Let's just get into the picks. So we're going to be looking at Thrive Fantasy, and Thrive Fantasy is a pretty interesting company because it's a fantasy company, but it's basically a sports book that only gives you parlays. So the way it works is any two picks you select, you're going to see $10 to win $36, right? Doesn't matter what you take. You take overs, you take unders, it doesn't matter, which is why this platform's so interesting because it's completely different than a sports book, right? They're just saying put any two picks in your parlay is going to be 10 to win $36. So what that means is they are giving you the implied odds of minus 111 on all player props. So it's a parlay only sports book where you're getting minus 111 implied juice on any pick, which means the over and the under, right? So as a sharp better, our goal is find two picks on Thrive where we're getting amazing value at minus 111 odds. So you can browse odds for 100% free on OddsJam to look for these picks. And the first play I ended up going with is right here. Okay, it's Cade Cunningham under 35 and a half PRAs. So why do we like this? Well, first of all, you can see other sports books, a lot of other sports books have his line even lower, right? Like you can see Unibet has it set at, his OU for PRAs is set at 33 and a half. FanDuel 34 and a half. PointsBet 34 and a half. Both of them have the under juiced as well. Prize Picks has his line at 34 and a half. Now there's some other sports books setting the line at 35 and a half, right? But they all have the under heavily juiced. So as a sharp better, we're always looking for value, right? The typical VIG or juice on a player prop is 4 to 5%, right? So we need to find enough value in the market to beat that, right? So what OddsJam is doing, what the positive EV tool is doing, is pretty simple. It's just taking these millions of odds kind of, on sports books in the NBA player props, whatever, NFL money lines. It's taking all these odds and just trying to show you, hey, here mathematically is where you're actually getting value, right? There's no BS. This is just a value bet, right? It's a bet with a mathematical profit margin. OddsJam doesn't know who Cade Cunningham is. It doesn't know if he played well in the last game. There's no BS, right? It doesn't know if he looked, if his girlfriend looked good getting off the bus with him. There's no BS. It's all about data, which is all that matters in the long run as a sharp better. So, when you can find these spots where we're getting under 35 and a half points or PRAs for Cade Cunningham, in Pinnacle Sportsbook, the sharpest bookmaker is pricing this at minus 163. DraftKings, minus 125. Come on, minus 125. Basically every sportsbook is telling us, hey, the line should either be lower at 34 and a half or 33 and a half, or the under 35 and a half should be juiced to somewhere between minus 125 and minus 163. So math aside, you can see the profit margin of this bet is 4%. So you bet $1,000, the profit margin of your bet is going to be $40, right? So this is the first leg in our parlay. We're staking $1,000. So this leg alone is worth $40 in profit margin, which is pretty crazy. That's how you can make a lot of money sports betting. So essentially, the way you want to think about sports betting is just how do I use all this data in the market to identify bets with value. And you can see right here, this bet is pretty clearly, at least in my opinion, extremely profitable. Bet Online has this minus 141, Caesars minus 137, DraftKings minus 125. Again, just a lot of value in this play. So I went with Cade Cunningham under 35.5 PRAs. Next play I have is going to be right here. Ben Simmons over 23.5 PRAs. So we're down one guy. We're taking one guy on the over. You can see Simmons, most sports books have his line at 24.5 or 23.5, but they have the over heavily juiced. Bet Online has this minus 135. Pinnacle, the sharpest, most efficient betting market, they have this minus 148. So, we're kind of being a logical sports bettor. We're playing a detective, right? And it's like, yeah, I mean, obviously, when sports books are either setting the line higher, and FanDuel and Caesars both have the over 24.5 PRAs juiced, getting over 23.5. Very clear value, in my opinion, being able to get Simmons over 23.5 PRAs. So lock it in. Let's make some money, guys. I ended up hitting this. So I'll show you my bet slip. I ride with everything, we say we're going with. So Cade, under 35.5 PRAs, Simmons over. And again, yesterday we cashed. Yesterday we freaking crushed it. 1,000 to win 3.6K was our big play. And Hedman and Davis both cashed. One hockey player prop, one NBA. So let's make some money, guys.